Hey everybody, welcome to the first of hopefully a couple eco tutorial videos that I can make for you guys. Before I jump into it, I just want to let you know what I'm going to be doing today. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play it all the way through the tutorial to the point where you get done building your house. At that point, I'm going to ask everybody, if you get there, you can quit the tutorial and we're going to play the game. We'll talk more about skills and different jobs you can have and that kind of stuff later. But for today, I just want to catch everybody up, make sure that if you haven't yet, this is how you finish the tutorial. I'm going to show you as much as I can. And from there, if you guys still have questions, we'll have to figure it out in class. But even before I start this tutorial, I wanted to say a few things. All right. So first thing I will do is, it says around you is a living ecosystem rich with plants, animals, and natural resources. Press S and W or A and D to kind of move around. And maybe you've noticed in the bottom right of the screen, whatever button I'm pressing will kind of light up down there. So hopefully that helps at times. Right now, if I'm like running in circles, it's just kind of a mess of me pressing letters. But anyway, okay, so first thing we do is we can move with W, A, S, and D to move in those 4 directions. I like that more than using the arrow keys. You can use the arrow keys, but it's easier when you have one hand on your mouse or your trackpad and your other hand moving on like A and D. Okay, next thing I'll do is I can jump. Okay, this one was tricky for a lot of kids. Press F5 to toggle third person. At the top of your keyboard, there is a row of numbers. It's F1 through F12. If we press F5, we can go full screen. So boom, I'm able to run around. I'm third person right now. Okay, now I have 2 new objectives. Find the meteor. Look for the meteor in the sky. You may need to wait until it orbits to this side of the world. And then the other thing is we can set up our camp by opening our backpack, pressing that hotkey B. Okay, one other button that I didn't talk about is when you press the tab key, which is all the way on the left side of your screen. Okay, it will allow you to move your mouse around. Some of you guys have noticed that like this giant chat box is here and it's kind of annoying. So if you want, you can totally slide that out of the way. I would just make sure you leave it somewhere that you can like grab it later if you want to, check things out or send messages to your friends and that kind of stuff. We'll probably use the chat more. The longer we play, the more we're able to kind of trade with people, and it's helpful to talk with people from other classes. Maybe you need something from them and you can send them a chat during first period, and then in 5th period, they'll read it and they'll get back to you. But anyway, I pressed tab a second ago so that I could move my mouse around. Right, there are these things down here. Right now, we don't need to worry about our governments right now. If you want to hit tab and open your backpack, you totally can. Or if you don't want to do that, right, as you're running around, you can just press the B button on your keyboard. Okay, so I've opened my backpack and I now have a bunch of boxes that I can store things in, as well as down here that's called your hotbar. So first thing I'm going to do is all you have to do is I'm going to left click, and that is going to pull my tent from my backpack down to this hotbar. If there's ever times that you want to move stuff around, like if you have seeds or other like not helpful things down here, you can just click them when you have your backpack open and boom, they'll go right back into your backpack. So I'm going to press that. And I really like using the escape key to close out of your backpack or other menus that open up because it's just faster that way than having to click that little box. So I would do that, okay? I'm not really going to look around for like a good spot. I'm just going to place my tent down kind of like right over here. Nice empty spot. And you'll notice that on the screen there are 2 words right there in the middle. I can either right click to place or I can press R to rotate. And if you kind of look at it, you can tell where like the front of something is. Maybe at first it's a little bit tricky, but you figure it out pretty quick, right? So if I'm going to rotate it, now it's facing me. I can see my bed kind of in there, and I'm just going to press right click to place it. Okay, now there's 2 important things about storage with your tent, okay? You'll notice my new objective is to get equipped, and I have to open my tent. When I walk up to it, I'm going to do this in first person as well. You'll notice that there will be kind of this green outline. That means that you're looking at it and you can use it, okay? Now there's 2 places that you start the game with storage, okay? You can store things in your tent. You can also store things in this small stockpile next to you. And you'll notice that the use key, or to open things up, is E. You're going to use E a lot to open things up. So to follow this objective, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press E to use this. Okay, and now I need to click on the storage tab. Okay, with my campsite or with my tent, there are 3 things I can craft. We'll talk about crafting in a minute, but for now we're going to open up our storage, okay, and we're going to move the wooden shovel to our toolbar. When you have a storage open, you can just left click and boom, it'll go down to your open bar if you have an open spot. If you don't, it'll just go into your backpack, which is nice. Okay, now it wants us to take our stone axe, so I'll hover it. It'll tell me this is my stone axe. Okay, boom, got it down there. My new objective is to select it. Okay, so I'm going to press escape to close out of this. Right, and to select it, you can press the number 2. Or if you have a mouse, you can use your little scroll wheel. I like to use the scroll wheel because it's faster. Not everybody always has a mouse though, so it's okay if you got to use those numbers. One side note, I mentioned the timer, totally forgot to start it. So I'm not that far into it. I'm still going to start my timer right now. I put down my tent and I have my stockpile. So boom, timer is going. Okay, we went into our tent. We picked up our tools, all that good stuff. Our new objective is to chop a tree until it falls over. So not going to go that far from my tent. Just going to chop down this guy. And when I record or when I make this video, I'm going to shorten this so you don't see all this. So yada yada yada, chop down a tree. You're going to skip all this. Speed it up times 2. Okay, so I've gotten this message that my food panel is unlocked. This is where you're going to track your calories and your nutrients. Okay, the better quality and more balanced your diet, the faster you gain experience. Experience is important. We'll talk about stars and experience at the end of this video. But experience is very important, right? But long story short, the more different foods you eat and the better quality of food you eat, the more experience you get, the further you're going to get in the game. Okay, so there's 4 main nutrients. There's vitamins, carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Okay, the more balanced your nutrients are, the higher your bonus is. Okay, the pie shrinks as your calories go down. Once it gets too small, you can't work until you find something to eat. So every day, the first thing I would do if I were you guys is I would check my circle and I would see if I need to go and get some food. Because it's really annoying when you run out to start chopping down a tree and it says, hey, you're too hungry. Okay, so once this tree falls over, a couple of pro tips that I want to show you guys, okay? When you go to chop down a tree, you can hit it in the middle, but I don't like to do that because then it breaks it up into like odd chunks. Okay, so what I like to do is usually I'm first person, and I like to come to the very end and click right on the edge, okay? The reason I do that is because it always gets me a stack of 5, and as hopefully you guys have learned, the max you can carry is 20, right? So I'll go 5, 10, 15, click right on the edge of it. Come on. There we go. And I've got 20, right? 20 is the max I can carry. Now, one important thing about your storage that I want to mention, okay? Inside of your tent, you can only store things that are not carryable, okay? So like you see how it says I'm carrying these 20 logs? Big things like logs and rocks and adobe, those are carryable items. If I try to store this in my tent, it's not going to let me, right? It says this inventory, this tent, only accepts non-carried items. So like my shovel can go in there just fine, but these oak logs cannot. Okay, that's why stockpiles are so important. So next to my tent, I'm going to go up to my stockpile, and the fast key to use it is just to right click. So you can see it shows you the mouse symbol with the right click button. I'm also just going to right click with my mouse. So boom, I've got the wood stockpile quest done. I'm going to take a second and I'm going to go get some food, okay? You may have noticed that there are these little blue words along my screen with these arrows showing me where to go and how far things are away. Now I got kind of lucky and all these foods are pretty close by. So I'm just going to sprint over here. Okay, so we've found some food. That is all great. We want to eat a balanced diet, okay? So we have 2 tasks over here. We can make a workbench, or we can eat a balanced diet. Really quick, we're just going to eat a balanced diet. So we're going to mouse over an item of food. Remember, to get your mouse out, you have to hit tab, okay? And we're going to examine its nutrients. So if we look at corn, okay, it's high in carbohydrates or in carbs. It's kind of low in protein, and it has 0 fat. It's also high in vitamins. Okay, so now we want to eat a food containing carbohydrates. Corn is high in that, so we're going to press tab to get your mouse out, press tab to make it go away. We're going to press 3 to hold our food in our hand, and then we have to hold down the right click button. Okay, boom. And because corn also had protein and vitamins in it, it checked those boxes. The last thing we need to do is find a food that contains some fat. So if we look at these beets, they have carbs, they also have fat, and they have vitamins. So I'm going to press tab to get my mouse away. I'm going to press 5 to get out those beets, and I'm going to left click, hold that down, and I'm going to eat it. Okay. Now we want to mouse over our nutrition pie chart. So I'm going to press tab. Down here's our pie chart again, and it's going to show you the skill boost. Okay, so mostly with what we've eaten so far, we've eaten stuff that has a lot of vitamins in it. We've eaten stuff with some carbs, not a lot of protein in our diet right now though. So if we want to balance out that circle, that's something that we want to make sure we focus on, is getting more protein at some point. Luckily, it looks like I just happened to discover the Meteor. There's going to be some words here. I'll explain them as well. Okay, so the Meteor is in a spiral orbit around the planet. It's going to hit, remember this is my fake world, so it's in 29 days. Okay. Together with my fellow citizens, we're going to advance civilization to a level of technology that's capable of stopping the Meteor. We got to make a space laser. I need your guys' help. Okay, since all of our resources to do this come from the environment, we could destroy the planet if we're not careful before the Meteor even hits us. So we want to make sure that we're doing things like planting trees, taking care of our resources. Right? To navigate these dangers, you'll need to collaborate, work together with your fellow citizens to build a thriving economy. But you're also going to need a well-run government. We'll get to a government later. Okay, we're going to create cities, markets, a thriving industry. We'll elect leaders. We're going to advance technology to get more power over our environment, and our success will depend on our collaboration and how we work together and govern our fellow citizens. So, time to get started. Bada bing, bada boom. Found the Meteor. Next on my to-do list is to make a workbench. So to open my tent, I like having an open hand, so I'm just going to go to this 0 key over here. Okay, to open your tent, remember you press E to open any of your inventories. Okay, now to click the workbench, I go down here, and there's 3 things you'll notice. Okay, first off is it tells you how long it takes to make something. 15 seconds to make a workbench, for example. It'll be 30 seconds for a tool bench, but right now we're going to click on workbench. It's going to take 15 seconds. We have to do labor. Okay, labor takes your calories away from your pie chart down here. Okay, and the last thing is we're going to need some wood. Right now our storage shows that we have 20 wood and we only need 5, so it's going to take 5 of that away when I hit start project. Then see how it dropped from 20 to 15. Now my calories, or my circle, is going to go down once I do the work on this project. It's shrunk just a little bit. Okay. Now I got to wait 12 seconds for this to finish up. Okay. When it's finished, I can retrieve. This is kind of hard to read something out here, but when it's finished crafting, I can retrieve it from the storage tab. So I'll go back into my tent here right now that it's done. I can look at my storage. This is really in the way. Can I move this? I'll move this guy. That's fine. Go to our storage. Now we have a workbench. And remember, to get your workbench into your inventory, you just have to left click on it. Okay, now we're going to place this down on property that I own. Just for fun, I'm going to put it on the back side of my tent. I'm going to rotate it so that it kind of goes right here. I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to right click and we're going to place it. Have you guys tried earlier to come into your tent and make a campfire? The problem is if you go over to your crafting and you look at your campfire, you don't have any rocks. If I start this project, I can do the work, but it's still going to tell me down here that I need 6 rock for this to actually get done. Okay, and I think I'm actually going to go do that in a second, so I'm going to leave this project right here. If you start a project and you realize you don't have the stuff for it, you can always quit it by clicking on this little X above the campfire. But we're going to go back to the tutorial. Okay, it says open the Adobe recipe, change the quantity to 10 or more, and then click start project. So Adobe has made it our crafting bench. You'll notice you can kind of see that fire symbol from my tent. That's because it's crafted at my tent. Instead, Adobe has made it your workbench. Adobe is the top one because it's alphabetical. If you wanted to, you could search for it. If there's something you know you want to make and you want to see if it's there, it'll kind of slim that down, which is nice. But I'm going to go right here. Right, it wants me to create 10 of these, so I'm going to click this till it says 10. You'll notice that I have wood right now. I do not have any dirt though. So when I start this project, I can do the work to spend the calories, but it's not going to complete because I don't have enough dirt to finish that. Okay, so the next thing the tutorial will say is use a wooden shovel to place dirt into the stockpile. So I like to hit escape to close out of my menus. I'm going to take my shovel by pressing 1. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to dig some dirt. Okay, and remember, dirt is something that's carried. It says carrying right down here. So I have to put that in a stockpile. Okay, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay, that should hopefully be enough. When we look over here, it now says that we don't need anything. It's progressing nicely along here. When it's complete, we're going to pick it up from the storage tab. So I'm going to wait. So that project's just finished. One reason that it sometimes is nice to still have your chat around is because it will tell you when your project's finished. So like, I like to leave mine open, and I know that it's like a lot of words on the screen at a time. It does go away, like when nothing is being said in the chat, but you can notice that like, hey, it told me that my Adobe was done, which is kind of nice to know sometimes. Like if you're gonna run around and do a job that takes a little bit of time, that can be really helpful. But anyway, okay, so the next thing it wants me to do is pick up the Adobe from the storage tab. So the Adobe was placed in my little stockpile because it's carryable. Okay, and I'm gonna pick it up just by left clicking, right? And in this world I can hold 40. I don't know if you can hold 40. I think you can only hold 15 at a time in our world. But anyway, okay. Here is how you build. I'm gonna show you guys some very helpful tricks here. Alright, so many crafting stations in Eco require you to have an enclosed room. So you have to completely finish a room, give it a ceiling, a floor, and 4 walls. Okay, building requires a hammer and a material to place those blocks. Okay, the hammer tool can shape the material into things like windows or specifically a floor, or you can make stairs, stuff like that, right? And when you're holding your hammer, you can press the letter F, and it will let you change what you are building. So I will show you guys kind of what that looks like. And here it just talks about, right, to be considered a room, you got to follow a couple of rules. Okay, you need 2 blocks of empty space in the walls, right? Or sorry, yeah, maximum of that, right? No holes in the roof at all. And then a floor and 4 walls. Okay, so I need to retrieve the stone hammer from my tent and select it. So I'm going to go up to my tent. I'm going to press E. Okay, I can go to my storage. I'll grab my hammer, and that's going to go down to my number 0 key. It tells me to sleep. This and I'm going to press 0 to pull out my hammer. Okay. Now we're going to open the construction menu by pressing and holding F. So I'm carrying my Adobe. I've got my hammer in my hand, and I'm pressing and holding the F key. Okay. Now, basic blocks are things like cubes, or like this is a floor, which will look a little bit different. I'll show you, for example, like this one. If I just right click, lets me build. That's a floor, I guess, if I press F. Okay, this is just a cube. Okay, the cube is a little bit, it's like sharper, you know, the floor is a little bit more rounded. Just for fun, we'll use like the floor. And we're going to begin to frame our room. Couple things, okay? It mentions that we want to place down the Adobe somewhere on land you own, okay? One of the things I haven't talked about yet in this video is the land claim tool, okay? So, really quick, before I even open up this menu, I'm going to move some stuff to my backpack. I don't really need these seeds. I don't need these leaves. I don't need these seeds. That gives me some open spots. If I get hungry, I've got food, but I've got all my tools, right? So I'm going to hit escape to close my backpack, go back to my tent, and I'm going to use this claim tool, okay? When I press 4 on this claim tool, it will let me claim land to make my home a little bit bigger, okay? You'll notice at the top of the screen that it says that I've claimed 4 of 16 plots. So it starts out by giving me 4, and then you can claim more after that. I'm going to claim this space up here, just by holding up this tool, and I'm going to right-click to claim, right-click to claim, 3, 4, 5, and I'll just do another 3 over here, and boom, we got our land claimed. So now when we go to build, we'll want to make sure that we're building on our area. I'll press 0. Okay, and there's one other thing with building. Remember, if you want to change what you're building or the shape of it, you can hold down the F key. Another really cool tool you can use is this thing called line fill. So if you want to build faster, you can click on this and then let go of the F key. Okay, and you can place the starting block and the finishing block, and it will fill it in automatically. So you'll see it says build 9 blocks. I don't really want a house that big. I'm just going to build 8 blocks for now. Okay, so boom, 8 blocks. And then maybe I'll go this way, and I want this to be 5. So it's going to build 4. Now I've got 8 blocks this way, 5 this way. Then we're going to go this way again. Close this in. And, oh, too hungry, so gotta eat some food. And side note, when you're building, sometimes your tutorial will go backwards. So like, even though I've already been building with my stone hammer, because I didn't finish this task of place down the Adobe somewhere on land you own and begin framing, right, it kind of like takes you back a step, which can be helpful. Okay, so now that I have the floor of my house built, it says, hey, that's awesome. Okay, now it's going to tell us about the claim tool, which land is claimed. Now it wants me to build a house. To build a house, I'm going to need more Adobe, and this is where it kind of turns into a speed run. All right, so a couple more things. When you have your hammer out, sometimes you can do things a little bit faster. So you'll notice when I'm holding my hammer and I go up to my stockpile, it'll tell me that if I left click, I can take adobe. You guys see that right there? Okay. If I don't have my hammer out, I can still grab things. Like I can take an oak log, or I can go in here and I can click on the adobe. But if you have your hammer out, it'll automatically offer you like building tools, which is really fast and helpful. So I'm gonna left click this. It lets me hold 64. I know you guys can't do that. I'm playing on like a fake world, but and again, I pressed F earlier and I chose to use this line fill. It just makes things a little bit faster. So this isn't going to be a perfect house. It's not going to look very cute, but it's going to get the job done. And then when you want to build kind of like above your head, you have to like look at the top of the block, right? So it'll like recommend, like when I put my mouse here, it'll be like, hey, we're going to build on top. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Look, so far, it's been 21 minutes. I've taken quite a bit of time to kind of like sit and yap. So I just want you guys to see that it is really possible to get quite a bit done once you have like a good idea of what your focus should be. Right? And I know some of you started in like a jungle biome or somewhere that's a little bit trickier to maybe get some of these things to start with. But it just kind of is what it is. We're going to roll with the punches, do the best. Okay, so you'll notice when I was building on the inside, I missed these two outside squares. So maybe I'll fix that real quick. Grab this guy. Now remember, I set it. You can see it says line down there, right? I set it to be like that. I'm going to change that because it's really annoying when you're just trying to place one block. So we're going to point fill. And this will just mean whatever you're looking at, when you hit the build button, it'll build one square. I also am lazy. I don't like building stairs, so instead I just kind of do like I just do one of these on like the outside of my house so that I can jump up and down to the top if I wanted to like put my storage up here or something. It's a lot easier. Save time, we're going to do this, line fill. And remember, every time I have to hold down F to open this menu, then once I'm done selecting what I want, I can let it go. So we're going to place a starting block, run this all the way to the end. Boom, that saves so much time compared to doing it one at a time. Now that I've got this opening, I know I need a door. I am going to switch back and I'm just going to do this one at a time. Go 1, 2. All right, it's not perfect. It's got to be kind of slow and steady sometimes. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I have my house built. I now need to furnish my house. Because I want to, I'm going to build a door. I have some extra adobe. I'm just going to run up to my storage, and I'm going to right-click to put the adobe down. Okay, and I'm going to run over to my crafting table. Now, when I'm over here, okay, I can build an adobe door, so I have that laying around. I'm going to start the project, do the work on it. But then I also want to scroll through and see what else I can make. Okay, I can make a small canoe if I wanted to. I'm going to need wood boards, though. Okay, so let's see if I can make wood boards. Okay, boom, I can make boards. So if I wanted to, I could. Right, that's one of the steps of this game, is there's going to be new things that you want to make, and you're going to have to find the things that go with it. Right, so like for example, if I want to make a research table, I'm going to need plant fibers. I'm also going to need some rock. I haven't gotten around to getting rock yet, but anyway, you have oh, okay, so I have one bathroom, but the bathroom can only be 33% of the value of the primary house. So I shouldn't have built a bathroom first. I should build something else. Let's build a bed. Beds are easy. Unfortunately, I need to make some more stuff if I'm going to do that. Just to finish out this tutorial. I'm almost done. I wanted to keep it under 30 minutes. We're close. But I want a tool bench. Tool benches are made at the campsite. So I'm going to press E on my campsite. I'm going to go to the crafting table, and I need a tool bench. Okay, now I need rock. I've put this part off for a while. A lot of you guys struggled with rock. To get rock, you need your pickaxe. Okay. And I like to just find some exposed rock. So I got lucky. There's a bunch of open exposed rock right here. This type of rock is a little bit softer, so it's easier to mine. It's just called sandstone. So I'm going to pick up a bunch of this really quick. Okay, and there's lots of types of rock. So when it says rock, there's a bunch that you can grab that will all count. Okay. But really quick, now that I've got that, I'm going to go over here to my crafting. And I'm going to craft a tool bench so I can make some tools. So I'm going to start this project. I'm going to do the work on it. And you may have noticed the campfire went away. Originally, I had a campfire in here. The second that I got the rocks in here, the tent was like, okay, now that we have rocks, we can make a campfire. So if I press E and I go to my storage, boom, now there's a campfire in here, which is really nice. This will be done in a few seconds. I'll talk about campfires really quick. When you place down a campfire, okay, and you press E on it to use it, you'll see this red light. This means that it needs power, and if you hover it, it'll tell you that. Okay, it's out of fuel. If you go to power, you can put fuel in here, The two things I like to use are this wood pulp that you get from like the branches of trees, right? Or you can just use logs. But anyway, to save time, I'm gonna run over here. We'll throw this in just so I can show you that it turns green. But you click on the power, right? I have this wood pulp right here. And if I just click it, it automatically goes in there. And now, boom, it'll light on fire if I try to craft or cook something, right? And if I have something that I want to see if I can cook, I can just type, you know, corn. And hey, look at that. I can make charred corn. Just cause we'll make 2 of those. We'll work the project. Boom, lights up. Okay, a second ago over here, I made my tool bench. Almost done. I just want to show you guys a couple more things. Okay, so I'm going to put this down right here. I'm going to rotate it. This looks like the front. Boom. Okay. Now, sometimes the game gets confused with your storages, so it's important to make sure that you check where it says take all and put all. Okay, that will allow your tables to pull from different storages, right? So maybe one thing's in your stockpile and another thing's in your campsite. It's important that you can grab from any of those things. But anyway, I wanted to craft a stone sickle because the stone sickle is what I can use to get plant fibers. So I need 1 more wood and I need some more rock. Dang it. Okay. So if I was smart, I would have started the job, done the work, and then right when I got back here, it would have been good to go. Whoops, wrong bench. So I need to go to my tool bench. I want this stone sickle. And now that I've got wood and rock, I can start that project. I can do the work. It'll be done in 15 seconds. My tent, I go to my storage, and boom, I have a new tool called a sickle. Now, I don't have any bars down here that are open, so if I click on it, I will pick it up. It just disappears into my backpack. So kind of like before, right? I don't really need these flowers to show up. And if I want to get rid of them, I can just throw them on the ground. But it leaves it in this little bag of garbage, which like these will pile up, which is annoying. So we want to try to find better ways of like getting rid of stuff. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. I'm going to press B to open my backpack, and I'm going to grab my stone sickle by left clicking, okay? Now, when I run over here and I look at this grass, I can left click it. It'll give me plant fibers. Also, I did not put my plant fibers into my storage, which is very, very important, okay? If you leave stuff in your backpack or like on your person and you walk away, the game won't be able to take them and use them. Okay, so I'm going to press E on my campsite to open up the storage. Now I can also press B to open up my backpack, which is where my plant fibers went, and then I can left click and they'll go right in there. Okay, 34 minutes. I'm going to finish this out by starting this project. Do the work. Fast forward this minute. Alright, that bed is done. I press E on my tent. I look at my storages. I see that it's in my campsite. I can left click, pick it up, run over here. I don't need my hammer to place these items either, but I do need my hammer to pick them up. So we'll rotate it. We'll put it over here. This room is really sad, but hey, you know what? It's a room and it's done. And now you'll notice over here it says that it's a bedroom. And now I have a little circle showing that I have a house with 1 room, and that's going to give me bonus experience. Okay. If you guys get to this point, I would strongly recommend that you close out of the tutorial by pressing tab, hovering over this. You can click this skip button. You can click skip all tutorials, and you are ready to play the game. But yeah, hopefully it's not too long. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's make it happen. See ya.